Hi, everyone. It's Melinda Coghill with I65. Thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar about the new exciting, amazing 2.0. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you guys through a little bit more about why i65. I know most of you are already i65 users, but I'd like to give you a few new talking points if I can, because we are always evolving here. We are always getting new feedback from you, and as a result, we are constantly trying to improve. So we have some new talking points about how to help your clients, how to use the Medicare conversation to grow. Before I get started, though, I'd love to share a poll just to find out how many people are actually talking to clients currently about, or consistently about, Medicare. So if you guys could potentially, if you see the poll, if you want to just log in and let me know where we're at, that would be amazing. I'm seeing about 6, 7 people so far. Oh, okay, now I'm seeing a whole bunch more people actually. Okay, well, thank you so much for giving me a sense. It looks like we've got pretty much, we're divided on this side and this side of the spectrum. So about 50%, there's a few in the middle, but for the most part, most of the people are either less than 25% or over 75%. So just a little bit of mid-ground. All right, so, okay, I'll take that down now, but that helps me to know exactly kind of where we're at. All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of reasons, first and foremost, why the Medicare conversation. So let me hit that button on that. And I do have a chat screen up with currently. So if you're having any problems or concerns, or if something's not working right, chat it to me and I will try to get it fixed for you. So, but basically, the talking points of why Medicare. So currently in this country, we have 3.6 million people turning 65 each year in this country and becoming eligible for Medicare. So that's probably not a surprise to anybody here. It's a lot of people turning 65. Unfortunately, when it comes to Medicare, 72% of these people say they don't understand Medicare at all. So as they go through the enrollment process, it's very likely they're going to encounter some sort of Medicare mistakes. Quite frankly, they're easy to make. Unfortunately, just one mistake can literally cost a person thousands of dollars a year for the rest of their life. And now, I apologize because I know there's people currently on this webinar who have heard this before, but I kind of put this forth because truly, we still aren't tackling this appropriately as a country, as most of the population is still stuck in this 72%. And as a result, they're making costly mistakes. And I just had a personal situation happen where somebody who picked the wrong Medicare couldn't get cancer treatment appropriately and just passed away this weekend. So because of prior authorization and everything else, he couldn't switch. And anyway, that's a little personal side note, fun. Anyway, so Medicare decisions really can impact a person's life. We reran a number of all the different clients who have made mistakes or haven't made mistakes, and we created an average client experience. We extrapolated that number out to the national population. In this way, we've estimated seniors make about $6.4 billion worth of Medicare enrollment mistakes annually. This is not just a touchy-feely subject. This is a number that impacts assets under management. It impacts the quality of retirement that your clients may experience. This translates into a huge financial quality of life and, quite frankly, as we just experienced personally, an actual quality of life or not life. So Medicare is a really big deal. Now, people say to me, Melinda, really? really 6.4 billion? Well, we've got some new faces that go with those numbers now too. So this is John. John is one of our clients. That is actually not his picture, and it's actually not his name, but this is a real person. We just, for HIPAA, can't tell you. When John turned 65, he went into his HR office and said, "Hey guys, what do I need to do about Medicare?" They said, "Nothing, John. You're still working on the employer group. You're still on the employer group health plan. You're still working. Don't worry about it." So he didn't. Unfortunately, John works for a small employer, less than 20 employees. As a result, he has no primary payer. Medicare Parts A and B were supposed to be the primary payer, but he didn't enroll. So he will likely have to pay for all of his medical care since turning 65. So what is that for John? $500, $5,000, $50,000? It depends on his health care needs. What has he experienced? Ouch. Another one for you. This is David and Sandy, a married couple. When Sandy turned 65, her Medicare card arrived in the mail automatically. 6 months later, David waited for his Medicare card to arrive in the mail, but it didn't, and it didn't, and it didn't. David was then outside of his initial enrollment period because he had waited about a year. So David had to take action then to figure out what the heck is going on. Well, the difference was Sandy was receiving Social Security benefits when she turned 65, so she was automatically enrolled in Medicare. David was not receiving Social Security benefits. He had to take action to enroll in Medicare, but he didn't know that, and he didn't do that. As a result, David has to wait until the general enrollment period, which happens in January, and then his Medicare coverage will not begin until July. So what is he going to do for coverage until then? So maybe he finds some sort of private health insurance plan. Maybe he just covers the costs of any health care out of pocket. I don't know. Then he's going to pay a late enrollment penalty for the rest of his life. It totaled up to be 2 years by the time he got enrolled. Yeah, that's a bummer. All right, one more for you. This is Jane. When Jane turned 67, she was still working for a large employer plan. Fine. But the employer came in and said, "I'm so sorry, Jane, we have to let you go." So Jane decided, after she'd lost her job, that she would go on the company's COBRA coverage. To Jane, this was the same kind of coverage she had always had, but just with a larger price ticket. She took no action to enroll in Medicare. That's unfortunate because as soon as Medicare is not, as soon as an employer plan is not related to active employment, Medicare is the primary payer. Jane didn't enroll in Medicare Parts A and B. So as a result, Jane has no primary payer. Jane has no special enrollment period now. She has to wait for the general enrollment period to enroll in Medicare, which again starts in January. Her Medicare coverage will not begin until July. Yeah, here's the thing with Jane. And this happened in about June. She was let go. She got a cancer diagnosis in August. So Jane is the primary payer. She is responsible for paying the first 80% of all treatment. What is that? $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month? Oh. So these mistakes, when you start understanding the realities of the cases behind these mistakes, you can start seeing where we got the $6.4 billion number. Okay, so this stinks, but why is this happening? Because we are literally forcing seniors to become Medicare experts simply to enroll in the program. In fact, whenever a person is about to turn 65, they automatically get a booklet in the mail explaining the enrollment process. The 2020 version of this book is 120 pages in length. Ouch. So if a person decides, gosh, I don't want to do this, where else could they turn? Social Security? Well, the Social Security Administration is in charge of Medicare enrollment premiums penalties, but Medicare is their secondary mission. Social Security is their primary mission, and Social Security by itself has over 2,700 rules and thousands of codicils. But when you call, There is only one phone number that you call, regardless of whether you want to talk about Social Security or Medicare. You get who's ever up next, and we have literally had Social Security agents hang up on our clients when their questions got too complicated. So if a person decides, well, Medicare and New Book's not working for me, Social Security Administration's not working for me, so where will they turn for help? That's why they need your help. They are turning to advisors that they already have a trust relationship in hopes that you can provide some sort of Medicare enrollment guidance. Anything you provide has to be better than nothing. Unfortunately, today, most of the professionals they are turning to for help still aren't helping, which means if you have a Medicare conversation with a client, this is a huge, huge opportunity. And the idea behind I65 has always been that we make it easy for you to have this Medicare conversation with this client. And when you do have this conversation, you get to don the superhero cape. You get to become your client's Medicare enrollment hero. And with Medicare, there's a lot of business benefits. There's a lot of reasons to have this conversation. Increasing client leads and referrals is a very, very big one. Seniors talk to each other about how they solve the Medicare problem, which means that you wind up with referrals that you might not have had otherwise. You can easily differentiate yourself from the competition, being able to say, well, is your financial advisor helping you with Medicare and healthcare and retirement? No, I can. That's a very clear point of differentiation. You can get a foot in the door with prospects who might not otherwise talk to you. I already have a financial advisor. Why would I talk to you? Is your financial advisor helping you with Medicare? No? Well, give me a chance. Let me help you with that. You strengthen relationships with existing clients, and you are literally proving to clients how you are saving them thousands potentially in costly mistakes, or you're just giving them peace of mind where before they had nothing but fear and uncertainty. With Medicare, you also have, and this is probably my favorite single benefit, you have a guaranteed conversation starter for more difficult topics. So I admit some of the advisors out there that we deal with are really good at starting conversations like long-term care or estate planning. But these are not topics that people like to talk about and honestly will actively avoid whenever given the chance. I call these the la la la, I'm not listening conversations. Long-term care planning is for old people. Estate planning is for old people. That's too depressing to talk about. I'll deal with healthcare directives later. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is Medicare is literally on the calendar. There is a deadline on the calendar, regardless of how they feel about their age. 65 is the new 35, or I don't know, whatever the trend is today that we're saying. As soon as the calendar says 65, they have to deal with Medicare. Use the Medicare conversation to transition into those topics where you excel at dealing with financial planning issues. I'm not telling you you have to go out and sell long-term care insurance. I'm not telling you you have to go out and sell Medicare insurance. In fact, if you don't sell Medicare insurance, it's actually even better, because what senior clients want first and foremost is a source for Medicare guidance that is not related to insurance sales. So if you don't sell Medicare insurance, you're actually the person they want to learn Medicare from first. This is a big deal. Use that to start other financial planning conversations. All righty. Okay, Melinda, we got it. So how do we get started? All right. So typically in the past, what we've done, and I'm going to transition over to, let me get my other screen up here. I think it is. By the way, are we doing okay? If you can find the chat window, if there's a problem or concern or anything else about what's going on, please, pretty please let me know, because I can't, see things from your end. But let's see, let me make sure I'm sharing the right window. I am. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to log in. to I65. So this is the new screen that you now see when you log into I65. We call it 2.0. And basically what the big deal about 2.0 is that it gives you more freedom to meet your clients wherever they may be in terms of Medicare and retirement and healthcare. So in the past, we've sort of had a one-size-fits-all software solution. One size does not fit all. You guys knew that. It took us a little while to catch up and get there. But some clients don't want to work with software. Some financial advisors or senior advisors don't want to work with software. So what does 2.0 do? 2.0 gives you the freedom to potentially go beyond software. You can still use the software. We are still ideally empowering you to have a Medicare conversation with your clients and then open the door to those other conversations. But if the client situation is too complicated, they're an expatriate, a repatriate, they're Social Security disability at age 53, they have VA, retiree, TRICARE, FEHB options. I don't know, I'm making this up as I go along. But let's say they have many different healthcare options after they turn 65. You can still provide solutions to those clients, and you get to choose the business model that you use for it. So let me introduce you to, I'm going to actually take you to the screen, so I apologize. I'm working with two different screens here, so I'm going to turn every now and then. But when you log in, you see an activity screen now. So the activity screen tells you what's going on related to your clients. Is there a client who's still doing a needs assessment? Is there a client that we have scheduled a conversation to go through I65 and do a roadmap? Fantastic. Maybe you have some clients that are going to be doing consultations. These are these personal touch consultations. But basically, you can see whatever is going on here in the activity screen. I'm going to head over to the resources section. The resources section is still the same, organized slightly differently. The more important things we've put on the left-hand column, the things that we think you would probably need to refer to more often are right here on the top or by themselves. So the Medicare readiness checklist is a very big one to ensure that your clients have all the information they need to go through I65 start to finish without stop. Send the Medicare readiness checklist. It's right here front and center. We also have a brand new Get Started guide. If you're still pretty unfamiliar with I65, how it works, having a Medicare conversation, how to customize the software for your needs, please go grab the Get Started guide. It literally will walk you through. It's actually a pretty comprehensive document. It will walk you through step by step. How do you customize the software? How do you add logos? How do you change organization names? Setting up white labeling for your organization. If you have an insurance agent that you trust your clients to work with to actually purchase insurance, it will tell you how to set that up. How do you change emails that get communicated to your client? There's also a review of the resources that are available to you. Do a test run. How do you run a sample roadmap? Sample roadmaps are really, really important because they allow you to play with the system without having to use credits, spend credits. So please run sample roadmaps. Actually see how your logo, how your name will appear on client roadmap reports. Actually see how your legal disclaimers will appear at the end. Choosing your first client. How do you choose sort of a guinea pig client? Adding a client. What is the new process now doing this? So again, the Get Started document is a very, very good thing to do. And that is very easily found right in the resources section. Of course, we still have the comprehensive documents for choosing Medigap policies, Part D drug plans, Medicare Advantage plans, large employer versus Medicare, small employer plan versus Medicare comparison tools, the very awesome IRMA calculator. So if your client is going to potentially be subject to higher Medicare premiums based upon their income, head to the IRMA calculator to find out if they will be subject to higher Medicare premiums. If you guys are not familiar with IRMA, be sure to reach out to me afterwards and let me give you a crash course in IRMA, because this is one of the best and easiest ways to prove to your clients how you are potentially saving them thousands in Medicare mistakes. So especially when in a world of financial advising, most financial advisors still do not know that higher Medicare premiums for higher income people even exist. So this is a huge differentiation. You can literally save clients $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a year, potentially. Okay, so that's the resources section. All right, so I'm going to head now to the client screen. The client screen is new, improved, better. And we can always add new clients, or we can go in, add assessments or services to existing clients. But what I want to do right now is I want to run a needs assessment. So I could run a needs assessment for a client that currently exists in I65, or I can add a new client and set up a needs assessment. That's what I've done. So let's say I have to make up a name. Let's say Ingrid Iguana. I've been making up animal names lately. So Ingrid Iguana at maine.com. Okay, I am going to pick a state that's usually a little bit more complicated. So for those advisors out there living in the states of New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Maine, I'll say that again, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Maine, your Medicare rules are pretty dramatically different than in the rest of the country. So I'm going to choose one of those states to run today, just because it becomes a little bit more, the initial Medicare decisions become a little bit more complicated for those states. So let's pick Connecticut. All right, and so we'll just say the birth date is June 5th, 1955. All right, this is a big change. So a needs assessment is essentially just that. It assesses the needs, Medicare needs of your client. How can we best help your client? When we are running needs assessments, we want to empower you to be able to do this process however, in a manner that works best for your unique needs, your unique client, your unique business needs. So you have three choices. You can do the assessment with your client. The needs assessment typically takes about 5 minutes to simply assess the client's need. Then I will do the roadmap with them. So this is a very hands-on advisor approach. So my client will do the assessment, but I will do the roadmap. So conducting the roadmap with your client is a very hands-on approach. My client will do the assessment and the I65 roadmap on their own. This is a hands-off approach. So they're going to do the 5-minute needs assessment on their own, and then if they can proceed with the I65 software, they're going to do that on their own as well. This is the self-service model. This model is more ideal for HR. It's more ideal for Medicare insurance agents who would like to speed time to sale and allow I65 to do the regulatory and educational heavy lifting on its own. But if you are in a relationship business, if you are trying to potentially use the Medicare conversation to deepen client relationships or open up other conversations of financial planning, long-term care planning, how are we going to put aside money for that, estate planning, putting together an estate plan so that there's transfer of assets later on, that sort of stuff. If you want to talk about those things and use Medicare to open the door, have the conversation. Don't ever pick number 2. Okay, then I will do the needs assessment and the I65 roadmap together with my client. There is an asterisk after this option, and there's a very important reason why. When you do the needs assessment with your client, so let's say you set up an appointment to bring your client into the office. If you assume that you're going to run a needs assessment and then immediately jump into the I65 software, hold on. because I65 can't deal with absolutely every situation out there. If it turns out that your client's situation is more complicated, you may not be able to use the I65 software, which can result in kind of an embarrassingly short meeting. Well, thanks for coming in to do the needs assessment. Sorry, I can't help you today. Bye. You don't want to do that. So if you're going to do the assessment and the I65 roadmap together with your client, split it up. Call the client to do the assessment. You can do the assessment over the phone with your client very quickly in 5 minutes. Then, while the client's still on the phone, you can tell them the results, and if they can come in and do I65 with you, set a time for that. So that's my suggestion for this. But choose the option that is best for you, for your clients and your business model. So I'm going to do the assessment and the I65 together for this demo. Okay, so this is what the assessment is basically going to do. It is going to ask questions that are very easy for your clients to answer, hopefully. Which age category fits you? I'm going to do a path today that I know will result in us being able to use I65. So I will turn 65 within 12 months. All right, so we're going to say we understand this information. Have you or a spouse worked and paid taxes for 10 years? Yes or no? I'm going to say yes. All right, so which of the following best describe your current situation? I am losing the health care coverage that I have. So I'm about to turn 65. Please advise specific situations where one can't use I65. All right, I will do that, Maureen. Okay, so I am using the health care coverage that I have coverage and need to decide what to do now that I'm eligible. I am on Medicare because of Social Security disability, or I have an issue that is not listed here. Okay, so typically situations that I65 can't assist with, again, are the more complicated things. Social Security disability, any client SSDI, especially those under the age of 65, I65 today does not help with. It is very state specific as to whether or not a person can get a supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan or what they're going to be doing when they're actually eligible. So I65 doesn't currently deal with SSDI. TRICARE VA combinations, it does not deal with today. Expatriates, repatriates, it does not deal with because of it depends so much on the reciprocality of that country. What else? COBRA coverage, especially for those who choose COBRA after the age of 65. 7 out of 10 times, people over the age of 65 who have chosen coverage have actually messed it up in our experience. So the I65 software doesn't do that. People who have already messed up Medicare in some way, shape, or form, I65 doesn't deal with. So, but people who are turning 65 who have no coverage, that are already retired, people who are turning 65 plan on retiring, people who will be turning 65 and plan to continue working. All of these things, I am turning 65, I have coverage through my spouse. All of these things and more, I65 can deal with. So it's really helping to disseminate two distinct paths because we don't really require that you know. So let's say I have coverage and need to decide what to do now that I'm eligible for Medicare. Okay, so the type of coverage you have will determine whether you may keep this coverage or if you will need to partially or fully enroll in Medicare. Okay, so what type of coverage do you have? A health plan through current employment, a retiree plan, FEHB, some other coverage not listed here. So these some other coverages, these typically are not things I65 can deal with. The rest it can deal with. All right, so a health plan. So is the coverage through your employment or the spouse's? Doesn't matter. I65 can deal with either one. I'm going to say my employment though. So if you know your Medicare decisions will not affect your spouse, so you know that with certainty, Or if you are not married, answer the next question as no. Otherwise, answer the next question as yes. So because what we are doing is, will your Medicare decisions impact your spouse? Well, I'm not sure. How would I know that? Always, always say yes. Sorry, I'm confusing myself at the moment. Yes, or I'm not sure. So I'm going to say yes. All right, so now the system is going to basically give us an assessment, and yes, you can use I65. It will summarize your client situation. You are turning 65 and have coverage through an employer group plan sponsored by your employer. You need to know whether or not you need to enroll in Medicare, how this coverage will coordinate with Medicare, and other important issues to consider when working past 65, and I65 can help. Your spouse will also need help and should take the I65 Medicare needs assessment themselves. All right, so now the next steps. Download and review the Medicare readiness checklist. So I'm doing this, I have chosen to do this with or on behalf of my client or with my client over the phone. So we'll say that they've got some time to do the Medicare readiness checklist. And then when you have everything you need to move forward, click the blue Start My Roadmap button. So the Start My Roadmap button and the roadmaps and the generation of the roadmaps is pretty much exactly the same as you are familiar with. So you engage your clients in the conversation. Again, use the Medicare conversation to talk about other things, Social Security. Social Security timing. Do they know when they want to start Social Security? Do they know why? I'm going to run through this super duper fast because most of you have seen this, engaged in this process previously. So no, I do not. I'm going to say the company has 20 or more employees, so you can keep it. We do have the large employer, small employer versus group large employer group health plan versus Medicare small employer plan versus Medicare comparison tools. These are very, very handy tools. If you haven't seen them, please pull them out and actually try to run them with your clients. When you open them up in Adobe Acrobat or an Adobe Reader program, you can actually fill in these fields and it will start calculating, making calculations. If you don't have the free Adobe Reader program, they'll probably have to get out a calculator or a pen and a paper. But if you do have Adobe Reader, pop it open in that and the software will do the heavy calculating for you. But it takes into account a lot of factors that people often overlook when trying to do the employer health plan versus Medicare comparisons. These are very nice tools. Okay, understand this information? Will you continue with your current plan once you turn 65? I'm going to say, yes, I will continue with the plan today. Do you contribute to an HSA? This is a fantastic financial planning conversation. How much money do you have in that HSA? Do you know the value of it long term? Is there a way we can potentially maximize it if you're still making contributions? So again, more financial planning talk. I'm going to say, no, I don't contribute to an HSA. If I did, I would have to make the decision of whether or not I wanted to continue making contributions or enroll in Medicare Part A. I can't do both. So. But I didn't choose that. So your employer group plan will be the primary payer once you turn 65. So it tells you a little bit more about Medicare. And okay, so when you're ready to give up the group plan, you have a special enrollment period to enroll in Part B without penalty or delay. One of the things to know about I65, if you're doing the software, is everybody gets a roadmap report. Everybody. Because a roadmap report is essentially a peace of mind document that basically doesn't exist for 99% of people today. They don't get their own personal Medicare report. They have the generic Medicare new book, and 85% of that document has nothing to do with them. So it's really amazing to get something like that, even if you are delaying Medicare enrollment. In fact, Medicare roadmaps can even be more handy or peace of mind generating for the people who will delay Medicare because they're very fearful of late enrollment penalties. If I delay Medicare, am I going to be dinged later on? To be able to see in black and white, you will not face late enrollment penalties if you follow these steps. That's a big deal, and it has your logo and your contact information on it. So great referral document. All right, so we'll say we did that. All right, does your plan include creditable prescription drug coverage? People look at this question and they go, what? Not to worry. Remember, you had already run the Medicare readiness checklist with your client before you went down this path. So they know whether or not their coverage is considered creditable. They did the checklist. So I'm going to say the drug coverage is considered creditable. All right, so now we download the roadmap, and the roadmap again will have your logo. It's a great referral document, and it's also usually 2 documents in one. If your client is planning to enroll in Medicare and make that big jump for the future, a roadmap is a lifetime document too. It doesn't include just step-by-step instructions. It includes everything they need in their life forward. So this is Ingrid Iguana's report. I make up funny names. If I had put in my logo, it would actually show up here. I didn't. If I had white, if we had actually moved into Medicare, and this person kept the employer group health plan, but if we had actually had an end result where the client was going to pull the trigger on enrolling in Medicare and needing some sort of an advantage, supplement plan, Part D drug plan, and you have an insurance agent resource that you trust your clients to work with, their information could be right here. So that's not applicable in this roadmap though, because they're keeping their employer group health plan. This is my custom roadmap page. A lot of people don't know this. You can create a custom content page that you can add into your client reports. So, if you like this document, please share it with a friend, or this is how we work. These are our unique service offerings that you may not know about, but you may want to consider now that you're enrolled in Medicare and working with us. I don't know. However you want to use this page, please remember this exists under the white labeling section, and you can customize it however you'd like. And then, I'm sorry, please read this report. How questions were answered during the roadmap process. This is the client's initial enrollment period, but again, they will be keeping coverage. So these are the step-by-step instructions. So download a checklist for enrollment. Because this client is enrolling in Medicare Part A. So they're going to keep premium-free Medicare Part A. So how do you get Medicare Part A while you're still working? Follow those steps. Watch for your Medicare card in the mail. Continue with your current employer plan. Save the notices of creditable prescription drug coverage. You'll need those in the future. And take action 2 to 3 months before you will give up your employer coverage to take steps to deal with Medicare. So that's the roadmap report. Again, more information about Part A enrollment. What if they need to get a replacement Medicare card? Employer group health plan and Medicare. So how does this work? When could you actually have benefits for Medicare Part A? Creditable prescription drug coverage. What the heck is it? When you're ready to give up the employer group health plan, how do you do that? What is a special enrollment period? Will you face late enrollment penalties? Again, this is peace of mind in black and white. And then your legal disclaimer, if you had one, would go here at the end. So that is a roadmap. So now let me tell you, I'm going to do another needs assessment, but I'm going to take you down a different path. I'm going to take you down a path where I65 cannot help. So let's see, let's do Yuri Yak. All right. More animal names. I don't know, guys. I kind of have a crazy brain. I don't know what to tell you. All right, so let's do New York this time. There we go. Oh, that's not what I picked. Okay, so we'll say again, June 5th, 1955. All right, and again, you have these questions. Will you have your client do the assessment on their own, and once the assessment results come back in, you'll potentially set up a time and do the I65 roadmap with them in the office. Or will your client do everything on their own? Or will you potentially call them up on the phone to do the assessment and then bring them into the office to do the roadmap together? All right, so let's do, oh, I didn't, okay. I'm not even sure what I picked. Okay, fantastic. Which age category fits you? I'm going to say, let's say I'm over 65 this time. All right, so has you and your spouse worked and paid taxes? Yes, I will say we have. All right, so I'm going to pick a path now that I know that will result in a different service, like not I65. I am on Medicare and would like to review my coverage options. This is a very common one. I hear this a lot. I have lots of clients already on over 65 and already enrolled in Medicare. Is there a way to potentially help them, especially during Medicare's open enrollment period, as is happening right now? So I'm going to pick that option. Okay, so what type of coverage do you have? If uncertain, please click on the blue More Information button, because you will find a lot of people over 65 already enrolled in Medicare legitimately don't know what they have. They will tell you, I have a supplement, but my supplement has a plan network. That's not a supplement. That's a Medicare Advantage plan. Or they'll tell you they have a Medicare Advantage plan, but they don't like their monthly premiums. They're really high, but they know they can see anybody anywhere. I mean, so that's a supplement. So people have a tendency to call things that they don't know what they have. So sometimes it's just best to make sure that what they say they have is actually what they have. All right, so, and by following these steps, you can do that now. Okay, so I'm going to say I have Medicare Parts A and B with a Part D drug plan and a Medicare supplement plan. All right, so I know this is not going to be I65. Okay, so you require more help than I65 can provide, because I65 today is not digging into the weeds of Humana, United Healthcare, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I65 itself is designed today to be a fiduciary tool. So sorry, a question just came in from Jill. Jill, I'll get you in 1 second. Oh, and of course I'm getting a phone call, because, you know, why not? Okay, so I will answer Jill's question in just a second. So review recommendations. So I65 is going to tell you that we don't sell insurance. So in some cases, though, your client doesn't want somebody who sells insurance to review their existing coverage. How do you help? If you don't want to be synonymous with United Healthcare, Humana, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield recommendations, that's okay. I65 is designed first and foremost to be a fiduciary tool. We empower you through the tools and the resources to go beyond that if you would like to get involved in helping people to pick specific plans, but you don't have to. Now, with the I65 2.0 system, there are services built in. So let's see. So I65, this is a coverage review recommendation. So if your client and you would actually like somebody who doesn't sell insurance to be involved in helping to make specific plan recommendations or diagnosing, is there something better that they could or should be looking into? That's what this is all about. So there is a variety, and I'm going to pop this open in a different window. There's a variety of services that are available to you and your clients that go beyond the software. So again, you can always do the roadmaps, and the roadmaps are front and center in everything that we do. But if you want somebody who doesn't sell insurance to help your client pick specific plans, you can add that on to your client now. Ask an Expert Q&A services are still here. These are the one-off questions. You know, my client did an IRMA, you know, they sold a property and now they have an IRMA notice. Is there anything they can do? Things like that. Initial enrollment consultations. So these are the very personal touch services. So they are provided by our parent company. Our parent company is 65 Incorporated, founded by a nationally recognized Medicare expert, Diane Omdahl. There's a team of experts that basically walk your clients through Medicare decisions in a one-on-one consultation setting. We actually get as far as helping a person to pick specific plans that are in their best interest, but again, we don't sell it. So if you still have an existing relationship with an insurance agent and what they want first is a source that doesn't sell insurance and then move to an insurance agent, absolutely positively that is still on the table because we don't sell anything, and typically the advisors working in the financial settings do not sell anything either. So we have initial enrollment consultations. We have consultations for couples, anytime advisor consultations. These are for people who have made mistakes usually. They're not initially enrolling. Something has happened. They got a cancer diagnosis and found out they have no primary payer. What do they do now? They made contributions to an HSA when they were already enrolled in Medicare. They were still working for a large employer and they enrolled in A and B and they're trying to retire and don't have a guaranteed issue right anymore. All sorts of things. That's an anytime advisor, sort of like any question, any concern consultation. Expatriate Medicare consultations, I think that's self-explanatory. Existing Medicare coverage reviews. Okay, so this again is where you can provide more assistance, help to people over 65 who are already on Medicare. They know or they don't know what type of coverage they have or why they have it. They have no idea if they can switch types of coverage. We help them figure that out. Open enrollment reviews. So if they have existing Part D drug plans, if they have an existing Medicare Advantage plan, each year Part D drug plans and Medicare Advantage plans essentially change how they work. If your clients are not comparing their coverage options for the coming year, they're the one left paying the bill. Our current record holder this year for somebody reviewing their coverage is $70,000 saved. That's our record holder. Our all-time company record is $235,000 saved over 1 year. So that can be a big deal. And it also gives you an ability to get in front of a client each year annually. And then there's just other services. But I65 is now built on a credit system. So when you log into I65, you'll notice that you have an existing store of credits. You don't have to use just software anymore. You can use these credits to provide any number of services to your clients based upon your needs and their needs. You can rebill for these services. So let's say you know that credits, let's say this service is going to be 22 credits and that you pay $9 a credit. 22 times 9, do the math. You can bill that service to the client, or you can charge the client the retail amount. You don't pay retail through the credit structure. So there is potentially a markup involved if you want to bill the retail price to the client. That's another business option. Or if the client is a high value client and you just simply want to provide this as a way of deepening the relationship or opening the door to other conversations, getting other leads, and you just want to provide the service and essentially eat the cost, you can do that too. There's so many different ways, and again, it's based upon how you operate. What are your preferences? All right, now Jill, is there a way to compare keeping employer coverage versus going with Medicare A and B without creating two distinct roadmaps? Can you compare the costs of these two options? So Jill, the answer to your question again is in the resources section. So there are tools and resources: large employer plan versus Medicare, small employer plan versus Medicare. You want to make sure that you're using the correct document, because there are different Medicare rules depending upon if it's a large employer or a small employer. So you can use these tools to potentially help your clients make those decisions. So, and again, if you open this up in Adobe Reader, you can see that these fields, you can fill in these fields, and the costs will automatically start calculating. So you don't have to create two distinct roadmaps. And in fact, usually if you're going through, as I showed you before, you will encounter these tools in line. So as you're going through the I65 roadmap, it will ask you, you know, how many employees are in the company? Can you keep this coverage? Then use this tool. And once the tool is done, it's going to ask you if you will keep the coverage or not keep the coverage and head you down that path. So there is only one roadmap report. But using this tool is a huge distinction on whether or not the client will keep the report or not. Okay. All right, let's see. Is there a flat per credit price? Okay, so let's head over there. Let's look at how the new credit structure works. So I'm going to head over to I65. All right, so the pricing. So in the pricing section of I65, basically, these are the services. This is the credit structure, and down below are all the different services. This is also available. Oh, let me show you, please, the help section. We have a brand new help section, and the help section has lots of tools and resources and things to potentially help you. Everything from how do I set up a client within I65, for what's best for my client, a one-on-one consultation or the I65 software, a little bit more information. And there's even the handout that kind of breaks it down into a chart format. A lot of advisors really sort of like this as a cheat sheet. This is in the help section. Lots of things in the help section. So please, and if there's something not there, let me know. We're always trying to put more things in and make this more useful. Okay, so let me head back to the pricing section now. So based upon the level that you chose, solo, starter, the only one that's missing from this list that was previously available was a pro. Pro went away and any pros became starters. So we took them down rather than forcing them to go up. But this is the number of credits that you get annually for this price. So let's say you're doing the solo. You would get 22 credits with each annual renewal. You also have extra benefits, so the custom branded sales flyers, the case studies. So that stuff is still the same. This is the amount that you would pay per additional credit at this level. So if you ran out of credits, that's okay. You don't have to go buy a whole new solo package or starter package. You can just maybe buy 4 more credits to do an I65 roadmap. And there are ways very easily to do this within the I65 system. So, oh, well, I can't show you because my account is a sample account and it's not tied to credits. But if you had actually clicked on that, or if you go to admin and you want to add credits, you can very easily do this in any number of ways. If you're actually trying to order a service and you don't have enough credits, it will direct you to purchasing more credits, and it will use the level of per credit level that you're at. Okay, so now, so the retail price, all the different services that are available, $65 is the retail price of a roadmap. At the solo level, you save 38% off retail price. It goes down from there depending upon which level you're at. Ask an Expert Q&A services, individual Medicare enrollment consultations. These are $500 a piece, but again, you don't pay retail. So, so you can do the calculation based upon your unique level to see what your unique discount would be. So that's all there. And just so you know, I'm at the I65 website, i65.com, and I went to the pricing tab. That's where I am right now. All right. So now one more question that I often get is these different credits. So let's say I have 68 credits today. I haven't used 68 credits, and now I'm heading into my annual renewal and I still have 62 credits remaining. What do I do? My suggestion is change from a starter level to a basic level. You will only get 10 more credits, but you will maintain access to the whole I65 system. You'll maintain access to any previously run roadmaps. You'll maintain access to all of the credits. Credits don't expire. You have access to the I65 system using any and all of those credits and anything moving forward, anything in the resources section, as long as you have some sort of active membership. So the basic level membership is sort of a maintenance mode subscription level. So if you find you have a big chunk of credits that you're not using, but you still find it valuable to access the resources and the tools, or you want to be able to ask questions every now and then, you're just not using the credits up that fast, switch to a basic level. So that's the maintenance level. Conversely, if you're on a solo account and you're starting to purchase this service, that service, this service, don't be surprised if you get a call from me saying, hey, you just burned through like 200 credits at an $11 or $10 price point. You could be saving money if you just, moved up a level or something. I will make those phone calls if it makes financial sense. So, all right, so let's see what else. Is there a sample of the client report they will use for this additional review service? So we do have sample roadmaps. In fact, let me see. So I'm going to head to the services tab, and I'm going to head to the learn more of an initial enrollment consultation, and I'm going to see. Apparently that's not on this page. We will fix that and make sure that the sample roadmap is there, because we do have sample roadmaps. In fact, if we go to the consumer section, and by the way, for financial advisors who are really concerned that we offer I65 roadmaps direct to consumer, that is not predominantly how clients want to do this. You can send them to us and have them run through I65 roadmaps. They want you. They want your help. This is a decision important enough that they want you. But we do have sample roadmaps available, so I'll make sure that gets transitioned and is available for you to be able to see, because we've got sample roadmaps for what they look like for consultations. We've got them for open enrollment reviews, Part D, Medicare Advantage, et cetera. So I'll make sure that goes live. Let's see, anything else? Any other questions or concerns? If you do the Q&A button, anything else? Otherwise, I want to make sure that I get you guys out of here on time. And I really, 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 really appreciate you hanging in there with me today. I'm going to post in my direct number, 3-3001. So that's my direct phone number, and I'll send that out in a follow-up email. But if you have any specific questions or concerns that I didn't address today, or you want to walk through something in particular, please reach out and let me know. Let's see. Otherwise, the recording will be available. We're going to make that available as well. Yeah, so thanks for hanging in there with us. Thanks for all the feedback you've given us. We're always serious about taking it and trying to improve. So I will talk to you guys later, and let me know if there's anything else I can do. All right, have a good one.